This conference will now be recorded.
You guys can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, yeah, I was asking, you guys got a chance to go through the remaining functions, which was remove, reverse, update, array.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, any confusion on that? I mean, any query do you guys have? You want me to go through this again, or I can skip remaining functions and go to some other?
So, can you explain the where and where contains functions?
Okay, sure. All right. So, where functions is written the indices where the value in the input array are true. So, if we use where function, whatever value is true, it will return the index of that. Earlier we did understood, right, what is the index function. Index functions give you the position. I mean, what position the value is. So similarly, where will only return wherever the value is true. It won't return where the value is false. So if you see this, where these are the Boolean values. True, false is a Boolean data type. So true is at index 1, false is at index 2, true is again at index 3. So the output of this is 1 and 3. Do you see this? That's 1 and 3. So it could be anything. As of now, you see this, right? This is hard-coded. Hard-coded means directly we have passed true or false. But when you go and use these functions in your coding and all, definitely this will not be there. There would be some sort of expression in terms of your own logic, which will return either true or false. And depending on that, you might need to find, okay, which place the value is true, which place the value is false. You can see this below examples, right? Or you want me to zoom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're seeing these below examples where they are taking the mod of this with 2, and then they are comparing is it equals to 0. So 2 mod of 13 will not be 0. 2 of 24 will be 0. That means 24 is at which place, which index? That is index 2. So it gave you index 2. So 35 by 2 is not 0. So this will be the actual logic when you write. You will definitely not write like this. So anything which gives you true or false, and you need to find the index, like where at which place the value is true. You will use where. That this we do not use most of the time, but it's completely depend on the use case or what exactly are we trying to achieve. So is this clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll go to this where contains. All right. So what where contains does is, if you go with the name where, split it where and then contains. So we are asking questions, where does it actually contains what? Some values. So here is the syntax. Where contains values into this array. Array is multiple values. Your values could also be multiple values along with the single value. You see the data type, any type array. So it could be any type array, or it could be single values. And this returns, they have clearly mentioned integer array. So, okay, this question for you guys, what will be the integer array? I mean, when we are executing the functions, right, it gives us some data type. So what will be there? I mean, what did you guys understood with an integer array? Anyone can answer that. This is open platform, guys. This is for you.
Integer array is something which has values or something in it.
Yeah. So integer, can you define array? What is array? Anyone? Okay.
Multiple
So,
values. It contains multiple
sorry.
values. Array is something which has multiple values.
Yeah, that's correct. So array is multiple values and it return the integer. Integer means numeric. So it will
Yes.
give you the list of, so the output of this function will be list of integers. List of integers is, again, list is what? Multiple things. A list with multiple items. So here they have defined what is the return. I mean, what type of data it will return. So we are searching your values, whatever values you do have, and you want to see where does it exist into your array. So you will use this functions where contains. So this is the example where contains 20. So this is a single numeric value 20, and you are trying to search into this array. So what will be the output now? So 20 is exist where? Which index?
Second.
Second. Yeah, that's correct. So you will get the result, which is 2. You could see here 20 is at index 2, gave you 2. Where contains 50. Does 50 exist here? No. So it gave you the empty result. Let me just try to copy paste this. See, it gave us the empty result. So again, it depends on functions to functions. Some functions will give you definitely the empty results, but some functions will give you the error. So we did saw the result of length and count function yesterday. So length and count functions will give, if we pass to them a null value, they will give uh, the error. So which we need to handle by checking whether the value which you are passing is it null or not. So it's kind of logic we need to write. And again, you can pass any type of array. Here you have passed 2 and 1. So checking 2, which place it is. So 2 it as two different places, as on second as well as third. So you see second and third is there, and checking for 1. 1 is at index 1. So you got 1, 2, and 3. So this is where some more examples. You can also go through this. And this, they have written a text. This is not exactly a text. I will cover this somewhere later once we go into the class. This is actually a function to paging info, but just consider this as a text and try to match this into a given array. So this is the exact match of what we are searching from here into a value, and it give you 1. And where contains null. This is null, empty value. Similarly, you can use this, but where contains 1 and decimal values return an error. So anytime, right, whenever we do some comparisons where equals to, or so the data type should be same, because we cannot compare two different things, and that even doesn't make sense. The comparison with anyone, they should have, I mean, the equal opportunities. They should have the similarities. Then only we can compare. If two persons are not similar, there's no point of having comparisons. They have their own identity. And similarly, this two data type have the different identity. And when we are comparing, when we are trying to search, there's nothing to give. So if you pass the integer, it will definitely work. Nothing else right into this function. So where and where contains, that's one thing you guys wanted to know, right? You guys understood update error? We covered yesterday, right?
Uh, we understood.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's take the date and time and you finish this. So this could be a bit confusing if you guys don't give attention. So just give attention to all these functions and feel free to stop if you have confusion or you didn't understood. All right. All right. So earlier we had the array functions, which is multiple values, and these are the date and time functions. So date and time functions, you guys can understand, right? Any logic if we need to implement or any sort of calculations we wanted to do, that will, in that case, we definitely need to use the date and time functions because we are dealing with date and time. So cal add days. So these functions add a given number of working days or designated on the process calendar to a date and time value and return date and time value that falls within the work time defined in the process calendar. So the syntax is, here is the functions. This is the start date and time. This is the number, a number of net working days to be added to the date and time. This optional parameter accepts the number of system calendar, otherwise different calendar is used. Okay. So what it does the your specifying numbers. I mean the number of days which you want to add to a specific date and time. let's take a case where I'm giving an example so that you guys can understand more in better. Let's take a case where there is some sort of exception. You guys know exception? What is exception?
No, sir.
Okay. So exception in terms of IT, exception means handling your code, which means uh, let's take a case where your logic is not working or your code is not working. So what will it does? It will give you the error. So handling that error is called exception. So those kind of scenarios or any type of handling we do as an exception. So let's take a case you want to trigger an exception on. We do have a functionality to trigger an exception. Don't worry, just remember the term exception and what it does. I'll explain you in the later part of our sessions when we actually go and use practically the process models and the interface. They will got to know all these things. So the exception, let's say you want to trigger an exception or you want to trigger an email after 5 days. So forget about exception. Just think about in a business, there is a requirement by saying that from today onwards, trigger an email after 5 days. So what will you do? You need to calculate, right? After 5 days, what will be the date and time? Because to trigger anything, you should have the date and time. I mean, what time you want to trigger? That will be the first question. So you can use this function. You'll specify the date and time, which is now. And now is again a function. Now, if you execute now, okay, let me see if we can execute some of the functions into this box. Not sure whether it will work or not. All right, it did work. See, I gave now. So now is a function, and it will give you the date and time along with time zone. So as of now, this is considering the GMT time zone. This is Greenwich Mean Time, right? And this is very generic one. But when you execute this into your system, I mean, whenever you have a practical access and all, so it will take the time zone of your specified calendar. And by default, it will take the CST time zone. I mean, US Chicago time zone. So it will take the central time zone. And that depends of your environment and it takes time zone accordingly. So talking about this cal add work days is okay. So before understanding this functions, let's jump into the date and time functions because they are using date and time into this cal add work days, right? So let me explain you the date and time function first, and then we'll go to that. All right. So date and time functions, what it does, convert a given date and time into a serial number that holds the date and time data type. So this is date and time, and here is the syntax. What is the syntax? First parameter is year, second parameter is month, third parameter is day, hours, minutes, second. And you see everything is integer because this could not be a text. If you try to give a text, it will definitely give out you the error. Year as a text, the year of would you like to convert into a serial number. Month, integer, no names are expected. See, not month names. Do not include leading zero for a month with one digit. Day, this. So this is your year. Okay. So 2011 is the year, 12 month. This is day, and this is your hours, minute, and second. If I execute this, see what does it give? 12 was the month, 13 was the date. This is 12 month, 13 date, 2011, and the time which we have given 12. This is 12 p.m. and the time zone what is taking is GMT. So this is a date and time. So you can specify what date and time you want. I mean, with specifying the year, month, date, and the time, it will convert into the date and time, and it will give you the result. Okay, is it clear? Guys, did you fell off to sleep?
No, sir.
So is it clear? Do
Yeah.
you guys understand the function date and time?
Yeah, we got it.
No. So we were learning this cal add days. So cal add days is the start date and time and number and this. So here the examples they are doing hard coding and they are not adding anything into this, which is zero. I mean the second parameter is zero, right? So let me do this. All right. So date and time, what we are doing is date and time you already know. This entire thing will give you this whatever I've selected. This entire thing will give you the date and time. So and what is the first parameter? First parameter is start date and time, which is date and time data type. See this? And that's what the date and time will do. It will give you the same type of data which this wants. And you want to add what into this? Zero. 0 days. And if we are adding 0 days and we have specified date and time, see there's no difference. You have already given 12 months, 13 was the day, and 2011. 2011, this is your 12 month, and this is the day, and this is the timing, which is that has taken. Now let me add 5 into it. See the difference. Now 20, the date got changed to 20 and 2011. So this is what the function is. And what it does is it will add the numbers into your date and time. I mean a day number is the exactly a day. So it will if you do one, you'll pass one to the date and time. That is +1. Number two will be +2. So that and that will keep increasing a day depending on how much number do you pass. So let's keep going to the other functions, which is cal add hours. Cal add hours is same as in days. In above functions, we were adding days when you pass some numbers. Now this will add hours to your functions. So this is the date and time. Okay, let me give this to you. All right. So earlier when we were passing into this cal add days, it was adding days into your date and time. But this is what? This is add hours. So here I have executed the function. That's the same expression what we have seen earlier. This is everything is same except the function is different. You won't see anything different as of now because we did pass zero. No, we are not adding anything. So this is the core output with passing 0. And here is the timings, which is 12 p.m. Now I'll add some hours into this. Let's say 4 hours and give you 4 p.m. But date and all still remain the same. Let me try to give 24 hours. Just 7 hours. See, it did change this date as well, along with the time. It depends on your time zone. Okay. So you should not okay, you should ignore this as of now. Why did date change and all if you have that question? Because it totally depends on your time zone. Depending on time zone, your value keep fluctuating. So there's a lot of manipulations we have to do in future. So let me just execute this with 0. It's 12:13, 12 p.m. And if you add 2, let's say 2, we're just doing 2. This is 2 p.m. All right, so we are adding hours into our date and time. The first function we learned, we were adding days. To this, we are adding hours. And now we are saying is cal is workday. So what is cal? Can any guys tell this? All
Cal
right.
is workday.
Yeah, so what, any idea? What do you understand the meaning of this?
No, sir.
All right, you see this calendar? That's what it means. Calendar is workday, something like this. So cal is relating to calendar term and is workday. If I write into this normal English, is workday, that's a question mark, right? So this function will give you the Boolean value because it's a question mark and question mark answer will be true or false. So cal is workday and you're passing the date and time. So we are passing a expression and asking, is this date and time a workday? A workday means it's not a holiday, it's a working time. So let's read out more about this. So this returns whether or not the given date and time is a workday according to the calendar defined for the systems. Cal is workday, date and time is the date and time. Calendar name, this is optional parameter except the name of the system calendar. Otherwise, the default calendar is used. Return Boolean. Passing a calendar names allow you to validate work days using an alternative system calendar if you have multiple calendars configured. See process calendar configured setting. All right. So just remember one thing. You need to pass your date and time, and we are checking is it workday or not. That's it. So let me execute this. It gives true. So this date and time is a working day. If we try to pass Saturday or Sunday as a date and time, it will not work. It will say is it that's a false because Saturday Sunday is normally a off day. That's not a working day for any of the folks, especially in ITs. So this will give you the false value. All right, you guys understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. And if you have confusion what calendar it will take, so we can define the calendar Calendar will be your Appian calendar when we configure Appian and all. See, you see those screenshots? So this is the actual calendar which that function will take care. If this is a default calendar defined by Appian, and if here you go define additionally any of the days, I mean Saturday and Sunday by default non-working days. If you can see this, you guys can see this.
You can see.
This. So this is the non-working days as clearly defined, and Saturday. See, this comes under non-working days by default. So if you guys go and define 9 as non-working days, and you pass the same date and time, I mean 9 October 2018, and ask this function, let's erase this. Okay. So if you pass same date and time, it will give you false or true depending on what you have done into your calendar. So that what calendar it will take, we understood that. This is we are talking about work day. We are talking about the entire day. Now we are talking about the work time. This written whether or not the given date and time is within working hours according to the calendar defined for the systems. So again, it has a date and time. Why all the functions has date and time? Because we are going through the functions of date and time type. So everything will be related to date and time. So cal is work time. You need to specify time to this, and then it will say either your time comes under working time or not, and that's actually depend on the shifts. So if I work this, give me true. So at this date and 12 o'clock is actually a working time. It's not off or it's not a odd time. So that's a working time. So there, see, there are many functions which we will cover, but when you actually go and work, you will hardly come across a scenario where you need to use all those functions, right? So there are many functions to go through, but what we are using most of the time, I'm just going through those functions. So calculate work time will give you the Boolean value by saying is it a working time or not. Earlier we have gone through this cal is workday, right? And cal is workday, what data type it was returning? Can any guys tell me if you remember? Guys, this is for you.
Which one, sir? Callus walk time.
Yeah, cal is workday.
Oh,
What data
work
type
day.
it was returning?
Integer, right?
No, they told you, right? Is workday is what? It's a question mark, right?
Question mark. Yeah. Okay.
And question mark will give you true and false. And true and false comes under Boolean data type. So,
Comparison. Okay. That's work time.
right? Anyone saying something?
No, sir.
Okay. So, cal is workday was the Boolean because it's a question mark. If you see this, is date and time? Is my name Rahul? Is if you use anything with is, that will again a question mark. So it was written in the Boolean type, true, false. Now we are seeing there's only one difference is there's no is. Cal is workday, cal workdays. If you see the difference, that's why I recall your previous function. So this return the actual number of workday between two date and times, both inclusive, according to the calendar defined for the system. Again, it takes the calendar from your system. So cal is workday. We are giving the start date and time, and we are giving the end date and time. Let's take a case. I'm opening my calendar here, if you guys can see this. So let's take a case where I'm giving the start date and time, which is 10th March 2020, and end date and time, which will be 14 March 2020. So what will be the value? Can anyone tell me? In between 10 to 14
10th March 2020.
till 14 March. So what will be the value
5.
according to?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
Is it 5 or 4?
It's
5, I think so.
5. 5.
That will be 4 because Saturday is a working day. You see this? 14 is Saturday. And Saturday is off. And we are going through in between 10 to 14. So, and then they did mention here inclusive of your both dates. So 10 will working days, yes. 1. 11, yes. Means addition of this will be 2. 12, definitely yes. 3. 13, definitely yes. 4. But 14, Saturdays and Sundays are non-working days by default into the calendar. So this is not a working day. So this is what is defined and test. 2011, 12, 13. 2011, 12, 20. Well, let me go to 2011. Twelve is the month and 13 is the date. So we are taking 13 to 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Do you guys see this?
Yeah,
It-
also.
yeah. So what they are seeing, what they are taking. See, the first date is what? 2011. 12 is the month and 13 is the date. So here is, okay, we are in 2011. See this. Okay. So 13 is the date, which is the first expression, and the second expression, 20 is the date. And it gave you the result, which is 6. So now take a count in between 13 to 20. Okay. So 13 is when? Tuesday is a working day. Wednesday is a working day 2. Thursday is a working day 3. Friday is a working day 4. Saturday, Sunday is non-working day, so we cannot count that. So till here there was a 4. 19 is what? Monday, working day, and 20 is a working day. How much? 4
Sir,
plus 2?
where's
Like,
13? Sorry, sir.
sorry?
Sir, where's 13 to 20 mentioned, sir? Like
Uh,
as you mentioned, like showing the calendar.
See this, here what it's mentioned from 13 to 20. This is the first date and time. If you see this date and time, this is your year, this is month, and this is day. So what this will return? This will return uh, 13th December 2011, 12 o'clock. This will be the output of this. And here it will return 20th December 2011. And we are trying to get the work days between these dates. So dates are already specified here.
Okay, sir, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a start date and end date. If you see this, we are using these functions. So this is your first date, start date and time. And we need to specify the first date, which is your start date and time. And this is end date and time, your end date and time. And now we are taking a difference, like how many working days were there. And Saturday and Sundays were skipped everywhere in all date and time functions. Okay. So calculate work hours. So you can easily recall. So we did understood days, hours, and then again date, days, times, and days. Now we are doing calculate work hours. So we are trying to calculate the work hours. Earlier we were trying to calculate days in between two dates, which were your start date and time, your start and end date and time. Okay, guys, just give me a minute. Just a minute. Okay, all right. So we were talking about cal work hours. So work hours, we are trying to get the work hours in between start date and end date and time. So this is start, this is end, and if I execute this, it's give you the 8 hours. And now you guys see and tell me why does it give you the 8 hours? Yes, students, tell me. You guys are there?
Is it
Sir,
because
question.
any? Mm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it because if any like the non-working hours are also being added? I guess so.
Mm, just it's either okay. Thanks for this. But whenever you want to execute, right? So this is not uh, here. What are we going through with the functions? This is a pre-defined code, and there will be no chances of probability or question mark. So it will exactly give you the result. So tell me difference of this, or tell me the output of this, as we have gone through many functions and I did explain you what is the syntax of this. So tell me the date and time, what will be the output of this? All right, now I guess I need to take a name because you guys are not speaking. So Monica, you tell me.
So you want me to tell the output of it or the value? What are you asking?
Yeah, tell me the output of this date and time,
Okay, it's
which I
going
have
to be
selected
like
on the screen.
12, 12, and 2011.
And what is the last 12?
So that's going to be the date and the month.
Hmm. So 12/12/2011, right?
Yeah,
Because this is your year, this
yeah,
is your month, and this is your day.
yeah,
So this is
yeah.
12/12/2011,
12
and
and
this is your
2000.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
This is your time. This is hours, minute, and second.
Minutes and seconds. Hmm.
Okay. So this is 12/12/2011, and check the below one. What is this?
So,
This
uh,
is
is it the work hours?
mm,
No, sir.
you're not able to see the screen.
I can see, sir.
Okay. So what is the date here? The third one, the date and time.
The date would be um 12, no, 12, 13, 2011.
Which is a parameter for date.
The parameter for date would be from 2011 to
No, just tell
0.
me the date. No, just tell me the dates. Which is the date out of this? Is it 12 or is
Okay.
it 13?
It's going to be 13, sir.
Okay, correct. So this is your year, this is month, this is day. That's how the
Yeah.
syntax is. So if you see
Mm-hmm.
this, you're trying to calculate the working hours. What is the
Mm-hmm.
working hour in between these two values? So your first value is a date and time, which will give you the result of 12/12/2011. 12 was the date, or
Mm,
anything you consider in IST, you want to consider CST, date and time format, anything you guys can consider. But this is one extra day. Here the day was 12, here the day is 13, but the time is still same, 12/12. And that's the reason it's giving you the 8, because how many hours people work in a day? 8 hours.
8
Now
hours.
he has 8 hours of shift. So in between 12 to 13, if his guys has started into this and ending at this position, that's the exact 8 hours it has worked, right? So that's why it give you the 8 hours. So cal work hours will give you the value into integer. How many hours is there? All right, you guys got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Chinmay, Rachel,
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Got it.
is Rachel, AJ, and Rachel are the same?
Yes, yes, sir. It's the same. I
Uh,
logged in. Yeah.
uh, so now here is a date function. Converts the text into a date accepted by the date data type and functions that requires the date parameters. So earlier we did see the date and time functions, right? You specified year, month, day, and then hours, minute, and seconds and it will give you the output. I mean, the result was into date and time because of the date and time function. We are specifying date along with time as well. Now we are just specifying a date and we want the output as a date. So here you type 2011, this is month, and this is day. And this is what it will give you. It will give you the date. See, because we are using date function and it has no relation with time. So this will give you the date. This is 12/13/2011. Date and time we already covered. Convert a value to a date. I guess let's skip this function because not needed. Let's see day. Day is the date. Give you the date and time. Return the day of the month from the day specified. Day of the month. Now if you execute this, return 13. So we are specifying the date. Here they have given a date and time, but it will skip the time. It does not need a time. It just need a day, and it will give you the day, what day it is. So here it is giving you 13. See this 13. So for you guys, just a hint is just try to understand what is the function doing first. Okay, that's how I'm explaining even as well. It's a day function, what it does, and what is the syntax. This matters a lot because when you actually go and start working, because if this function needs date and you pass text, it will not work. So knowing the syntax and the data type will work and take you to the long way. And this date, I mean this parameter is the date and time. The first parameter is the date and time. That's the reason they are using the date and time functions. And into the date and time, they are specifying the parameters. So in case in future you don't understand or you guys are confused, what are the parameters, what are the values in between parameters, just feel free to go to this link and check, okay, what are the parameters. So if maybe now you didn't remember, okay, what is the parameter for date and time? Is it year, month, day, or is it year, days, month? So just feel free, take the reference, okay, this is the parameter and try to pass it. Slowly, once you start working, right, you'll get used to. So date and time we are passing here and we are asking, okay, which is the day? 13 is the day, right? According to this. This is year, this is month, and this is day. So this will give you 13. That's what it does. So this is the day of year function. Return the day number within the year. This is again the date and time. Day functions within the year, return 73. The date or date and time timestamp from which the day number will be extracted. Date and time timestamp from which the day, this, the year, month, and day gives you 73. All right. So the 73 on the basis of which day? I mean, in a year, you have 365 days, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you guys are not confused here? Why it gave you the 73 result? Because
It's
as
kind of confusing, sir.
okay. So why it gave you 73? The logic is this functions works and takes account of the months. Let's see that this is the 1947 is the year, right? And this is your month, which is March, and this is the date. So if you try to calculate starting from January 1st, so from January 1st till 31st January, right? 31, and then February 30 is like 61 or 60 plus 14. So somehow the calculation is 73. So it calculates the value. I mean, you define a date, but it start calculating from the 1st of January because we are asking which day of year. I mean, which day it is. Is it day 360? If you define the 31st December into this expression, so it will give you 365. That was a 365 day. Now you got it?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. So there are many functions which we don't use a lot. And what will I do now? I will ask Prakash and I'll share or it's good for you guys to cover the rest of the remaining functions. And then we guys can come and check tomorrow. Uh, what do you have? Okay, just yeah. So we guys come and tomorrow and see if you have any questions or any queries. And guys, feel free to ask questions because if you ask the question now, then rest of the journey for I mean, when we actually start using all this, will be very smooth. So that's why I'm forcing you to go through these functions and try to understand it. If you don't even understand a single thing or a single parameter, just feel free to ask. It's okay. I'm there. I'll take one more extra session for you if you don't understand anything. But feel free to ask because these are the functions which you are going to use when you actually write your own expression. And if you don't know the function and you are confused in between the function, you are not able to write any sort of expression. And it will not help you or it will not help me as well. So feel free to ask. Don't be shy into the class. That's completely okay. No one is gonna judge you here. So even though in your colleges and all, if you have any query, any questions, please raise your hand. Feel free to ask. Forget about who is going to think. That's a suggestion from my end. And so, so whatever we did covered so far, you guys can go and explore all of the functions. And I would definitely expect some queries. I'm expecting queries from you people. So you should come up with the functions which you guys didn't understand that at all. And also let me know what was your understanding onto this. Got it?
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
So any questions so far? Any
No,
questions?
sir. No, sir.
All right. So are we missing a person? Because yesterday there was a 4 people, right, who did join. Is there someone who is missing into this class? Prakash?
Avidya is telling
All right, right. Maybe yesterday there was a four persons, right, including you three. Today is just three. So I'll recommend you guys to let's have the sessions every day, because skipping the session will not help any one of us, and it will not help you to understand anything. And you also need to go through, just revise the functions which we did understood yesterday also. So for you guys, the assignment is go through the array functions with what we did understood yesterday, and we did completed everything. I mean, where contains, update array, index. Go through those functions once, check out the parameters. What are the parameters? And you have this link, right? Link to this environment. You can still go and execute these functions directly into this. So you can do your own sort of manipulations and see and check out the result and try to understand. So revise the array functions and go through the date and time functions, whatever I did explains, and along with the one which I haven't explained yet, and go through all of these and came up with any query for tomorrow. Right?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. So let's wrap up the class for today, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.